Hi, everyone. I'm Edie Nathan. I'm a psychotherapist here in New York City, and we've been meeting on Facebook Live now for almost 3 weeks. This coming Monday will be 3 weeks. It's been a long time, and I work with grief and loss and trauma, and the more isolated we become, the more we are social distancing. There's a lot that's coming up. And tonight, what I thought we'd talk about are what I call the 3Ds. So I don't know if you think about emotions, what your 3Ds would be. I write about them actually in my book, It's Grief, The Dance of Self Discovery Through Trauma and Loss. And the 3Ds are depression and distraction and detachment. And it's not that I'm presenting them in any one order, just thinking about this is one of the phases that I talk about it in the book. And we really haven't spoken too much about depression and detachment, especially detachment, because, this sense of detachment, the more you stay at home, the more isolated we are, even though we're, busy on Zoom and we're busy doing so many things during the course of our day. We're busying ourselves. It's a new kind of busy, it's a different kind of busy. But I'm just wondering if within this busyness, there's also just this sense of being um, detached. Like you're in it, but you're not. Like you're in these meetings, but your attention really isn't there. Or you're making dinner and somehow it burns on the stove. Or you do go out and you make that grocery store run and you forget something on your list and you know that you really don't want to be going to that grocery store too often. Or you're just distracted. You're distracted. You can't really get into that show you were watching or that book you were reading. I know for me, I belong to a book club, and we've been assigned a book, and usually I read that book. I finish that book, but I've been way too distracted to concentrate on something that might actually serve as being joyful. So yes, there's depression and there's detachment for sure. And there's also a sense that of feeling maybe a little disorganized because things are not normal, because life is not as normal as it was for sure. I mean, we've never experienced this. And I wonder if you think about, depression, depression, there's so many different words for depression. There's malaise, right? So it's malaise is kind of not as intense as depression. There's just sadness, and sometimes people will say I'm depressed when really they're sad, and they are just kind of feeling not themselves and down, and they're having a down day. And a lot of people are talking about having a down day, and maybe it's a depression of sorts. And if you are feeling that sense of depression, like you notice you're not eating, or you're not sleeping, or you're eating too much or sleeping too much, those could be signs of a sadness and a depression that's kind of lurking. Pay attention to all of these different parts of you. These 3Ds, they're part of grief. Yeah, they're part of grief. And what they do is they give you a sense of how you're taking it in, how your emotions are filtering through the helplessness. And we are all in a kind of a place of not being able to control certain things within our environment. But you know what? We can control what we think. We can control how we breathe. We can control who we touch base with. We can control what we decide to read or not read, or what we eat to some degree. I mean, it's a little hard to get certain things at the grocery store right now, for sure. We can't control what's going on with our jobs right now, maybe. We can't control knowing that what we come back to is going to be different. And you can think about the future, or you can just be right here in this moment. And being in the moment can help with that sense of depression, can help with the 3Ds in so many different ways. So part of the 3Ds, the distraction, do you find that you are really distracted? Do you find that if you want to do something or accomplish something during the course of a day that you're not able to, well, maybe you're distracted. Maybe it's hard to get things accomplished because you're a social person, and that social time is the way that you feel good about you. It's the way that you get relief. So these are all questions to ask yourself. Am I distracted? Am I feeling depressed or malaised, or that sense of sadness, which is really different, but for this conversation, we might call it sadness? Or are you feeling detached? If you feel any of these things, name them, please. Share them with your group of friends, your community, or with one person. And if you don't have that one person, then maybe reach out for some help. There are lots of clinics right now that are offering free or low-cost service. And if you're in financial straits, I'm sure that they will offer some free service. Be aware of what's going on within you. Honor it. Take time with it. Write about it. Share it. And please don't hold it in. We know scientifically that writing things down can help the emotion move from what's going on in here. Just give it a little bit of movement. Give yourself a little bit of relief. So reach out. Don't do this alone. Name what's going on. You can do that. Don't ignore the signs. And be good to you. And being good to you may mean acknowledging what the real deal is. Like having the self-integrity to name what's really going on. Because I know there are a lot of people who are probably feeling the exact same way as you are, but are hiding it just like you're hiding it. All right. So I want you to reach out to 3 people or 2 people or 1 person, but reach out. Tell them something that you're feeling really vulnerable about. Share something funny if you've got something funny to share. And tell them a story, a memory, because our stories make up who we are. You've got this. You really do. You've got this. You've had the power all along. Be true to you. See you tomorrow night at 6, and be well.